Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Amira Binti Amirul.
Hey, Assalamualaikum. My name is Syahiratul Nisa.
Hi, my name is Mohammad Farhan.
Hi, my name is Nadzirah Nafisah.
My name is Amirul Iskandar bin Adzhar.
In Malaysia, the resettlement program is one of the most important mechanisms in addressing the issue of squatter settlement. Issue of urban squatter settlement have long been given attention by the government since first Malaysia plan. Besides, several efforts have been made to prevent redevelopment and resettlement of people, including implementation of zero squatter policy and other initiatives like the public housing project known as Program Perumahan Rakyat or PPR. Both programs aim to remove all squatter settlement while also providing low-cost housing option for low-income people. Despite various policy and program, however, the number of squatter family continues to grow, especially in urban area. As a result, zero squatter initiative could have not fully achieved, but to some extent, it has reduced the number of squatter.
Squatter settlement is defined as a low residential area which has developed without legal right to the land or permission from the concerned authorities to build. And as a result of their illegal status, infrastructure and service are usually inadequate. Among the states with the largest number of squatters in Malaysia are Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Johor, Sabah and Sarawak. Rapid urbanization has led to uncontrolled and unplanned settlement pattern. It is a failure of government to manage urban development and ensure human rights through inclusionary policy and protection of the right to adequate housing. The sociologist Karl Marx criticized the consequence of urbanization under capitalism. He believed that the trend of urbanization is harmful to society since it causes poverty, material degradation, inequality and conflict in urban areas. According to Karl Marx's theory, the city is not defined as a concentration of a new fragmented culture, but as a concentration of capital and political power. Marx argued that the power structure between capitalists and labor were fundamentally exploitative, resulting in class conflict. Hence, as long as private capitalists profited, worker conditions could not improve. As a result of capitalist system, millions of people live in slums in emerging countries.
So, what are the barriers that can be recognized in the resettlement of squatters in Malaysia? First and foremost, the barriers can be seen through the acceptance of squatters dwellers toward the houses that provided by the government. In this regard, there were many factors that discouraged the people to move to the new place. On this part, they were given a choice to choose either a terrace house or flats at outskirts of town areas or a high-rise flat at major town areas. Since the majority of former dwellers work in major town areas, they had no choice to choose a high-rise flat, such as flats in Kuala Lumpur that provided by government under the PPR scheme houses. Unfortunately, there were many weaknesses of these flats. Among them, these flats are far away from the workplace and no accessibility to the public transport, and also family arrangement was a hassle because they had to send their children to the new school. Then, the condition of this flat also was appalling and small, especially for those who have big family and so on. Therefore, it can be seen that the initiative taken by the government did not suit with the squatter dwellers' needs and culture.
Next, we go to the politics and squatter. So, the squatter feel insecure as there is no protection for squatters under the existing law. This has made the squatters particularly preoccupied with the problem of the survival. Simultaneously, the politicians have viewed this as an opportunity to enhance their political party or individual political career. With the consensus of a win-win situation, the squatters potentially side on all promising offers to their advantage. So, the squatter issue has been inviting continuous controversy within the society due to the execution of the political agenda. It seems to be an unavoidable circumstance. Recently, the issue on the squatters has been the center of battle between political parties. The approach that has been fought for all the policy of zero squatters that is said to symbolize a developed state. The ground will be different of the opposition party as they would stand to protect the rights of the squatters. Nevertheless, in percentage, many squatters has been offered various housing schemes to cater for all categories of squatter income. Sometimes, squatter sector has been very affirmative in defending the squatting settlement.
The next barrier is employment. The issue for people living in squatter settlement is employment. Squatter settlement households belong to the lower income group where they work in various informal sectors or working as wage labor. Due to the limited job opportunities in the resettlement area, all households, regardless of their relocation options, are at risk of losing their jobs and income. These changes in occupations and loss of jobs were attributed to the increased distances to places of job opportunities, unfamiliar communities, and cost of transportation to areas of job opportunities. Also, this group is often associated with having a low level of education, no skills, and financial capital. This might reduce the chances in securing the job as they need to compete with other potential job seekers who have the criteria needed. Therefore, this scenario may lead them in becoming a home-based merchant, such as selling nasi lemak in the neighborhood area.
So, the issue of multi-racism occurred when the May 1969 tragedy had a major impact in shattering multi-racial relations among the squatter communities between the Chinese, Indian and Malay families. Frequent entry of the squatter areas, water, electricity supply issues are often inadequate and cause internal conflict in squatter communities and therefore result in one of the obstacles towards their coordination between communities. Meanwhile, when looking at the problems of drainage and sewage system, it was found in the squatter areas no water drainage was provided. As such, this caused the drainage to be clogged with rubbish all the time. It has affected the rupture of multiracial relations within the squatter community. For example, in Kampung Sadawut, Chinese and Indian families have been reported to have left before the outbreak of violence despite no pressure from Malay neighbours. While in Kampung Bakar Batu, the Chinese have moved after 20 houses were burned down in Kampung Bumiputra and Kampung Pancho. That the Chinese had distanced themselves from few of the Malay community in the squatter area.
So, the solution that can be taken by the government for these barriers is proper quality housing need to be strengthened. According to Article 25 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it stated that the adequate housing is a basic human right that forms a component of the rights to adequate standard of living. Thus, the issues of quality of the house such as accessibility and suitability should be covered the right to the ownership as well as the rental. That means the housing scheme must be able to give the owner a feeling security, relief and peace. Hence, the government must find the ways to strengthen the proper quality housing policy as well as suit to the owner's compatibility.
The next solution is government should consider the low-cost units in the resettlement area. To tackle this issue, people who are squatting are required to move out from the squatters area for the development purpose. And even though the resettlement projects are subsidized, the total amount set by the developers is above their means, and this will have impact on the lower income group as the market price of the low-cost housing remains too high. By providing them with accommodation, they need to purchase the low-cost units with loan facilities of 35,000 ringgit per unit. To make matters worse, they must also pay for maintenance, donations, security, and other miscellaneous expenses. Plus, the residents claim that the house is still costly, arguing that most households earn between 1,500 ringgit to 2,000 ringgit per month with 4 to 8 children. Hence, it is necessary to revise the price of the resettlement units because it is certainly affecting the poor.
The last solution of the barriers in settlement of squatter in Malaysia is the alternative taken on monitoring low-cost housing project and performing survey of squatter, as well as ensuring some private developer will get involved in the development of the low-cost housing. In terms of monitoring and low-cost housing project, the action should be done through supervision by observing and ensuring the project is based on schedule. In addition, the effort of monitoring the distribution of the low-cost housing project should be efficient and fair to eligible target, group and squatted occupants. For the performing survey of the squatter, the project should be in line with the squatter dweller by conducting survey action on them. For instance, through the various analyses conducted on the low-cost housing prices of Selangor Zero Squatter Program, the majority of the occupants of low-cost resettlement housing claim that the house that they are purchased are still expensive to them, and the eligibility of the low-cost housing is very much dependent on their household income. Hence, taking the example of the Thailand government program, which is the Ban Manhon Housing Program, the authority, politicians and private developer are involved in the negotiations, survey and development of the urban poor group to address the city housing problem. Therefore, the involvement of the private developer in low-cost housing project should give the biggest contribution to providing low-cost housing, besides reconsidering to reduce the price based on initiated survey. The advantages of this mutual agreement cooperation can be emphasized strong collection process of planning of the project as well can be contribute to the success and achieve the objective of the program.
So, from these issues, there were a few lessons that can be learned. Firstly, the authorities should always make a proper planning of urbanization, such as do community outreach, which means figure out what community need through surveys or else. From both a humanitarian and urban standpoint, meaningful community engagement can lead to smarter and more efficient strategies, also empowering them to identify the potential and solution in order to accommodate a large population of newcomers.
Another value that can be learned is to improve job opportunities. The majority of high-paying job openings for highly skilled and trained workers are located in urban areas. The government recognized the importance of employment creation for the urban poor, and thus various initiatives have been initiated to provide them with necessary expertise. Evidently, with various comprehensive human capital development plans, such as programs and skills training introduced by the government, it is not impossible to produce a local skilled workforce with high quality and integrity.
The squatter situation in Malaysia is abundant in the economic hotspot and contributor to this problem are mostly among the individual migrating rural to city. This shows that the economic gap between urban and rural is large. For example, the rural economy is limited to the agriculture sector. In fact, the urban economy consists of the various sectors and is the focal point of the economy. The situation of the squatter settlement can be minimized by driving the rural economic development such as modernizing the agriculture sector by increasing the use of advanced modern technology in place of traditional methods. In addition, the regional planning is also the one of the effective measure by establishing a comprehensive development strategies to standardize growth and reduce the gap between the urban and rural area.
Based on the problem of squatter life in Malaysia, we can see the real fate that befell each squatter family. From the discussion on squatter that have been presented, it can be concluded that effort to eliminate the problem of squatter must be realized and taken seriously by all parties involved. Without the government initiative, all measures taken to solve the problem will not succeed. This will cause a prolonged and difficult to control squatter problem.